Hi guys, it's Evelyn from Twin Flames 3344. I have a Divine Feminine and a Divine Masculine read for you today, as well as Oracle cards, and just a few things to touch base on. It is November 28th, 2018 today. And before I start, there were a couple of messages I received before I'd gone away that I never brought up. And also yesterday I said that I had been in an accident in Atlanta Saturday night, but it was actually Sunday night. So I just wanted to correct myself on that in case somebody had a similar experience in those kind of energies on Sunday. It was like Sunday night around 7:40 p.m. Some of the messages I got recently that I haven't brought up yet. On 11/11, I had done a meditation where I connected with Princess Di, and she confirmed it by showing me someone vomiting to bring up bulimia. And I did want to bring up that just to bring more awareness to it and how common it is. I myself have always been dieting since I was 8 years old. I was a gymnast when I was young, so it was expected of me. And although bulimia was never an issue for me, there were times in college where I made myself throw up. So it's very common, and unfortunately it is. And so I just wanted to bring more awareness to it, and obviously Diana's coming up for those reasons, to support, give more support to people who have this issue. Also on November 17th, Judy Garland came to me, which was very surprising, and it was very clear that it was her. Her voice is so distinctive. And she showed me the Z, and I thought she was referencing Oz. But then when afterwards, looking up Liza, because I asked her about Liza and what she thought about Liza, because Liza was so, she's just so full of life and personality. Was that really her, or was she really living her truth, or were there a lot of underlying issues with Hollywood and all that kind of thing? And the response I got from her was just shaking her head in sadness because of all of the stuff that she's been through. She did go through viral encephalitis, which she was not supposed to recover from, and she did. So that was amazing. When I read the article online, it said that when they told her she'd probably never get out of the wheelchair again, she had voice lessons and dance lessons or whatever it was every day to make sure that she recovered, and she did. So Judy had shown me the Z, and then she showed the top of the Z kind of rolling out like a red carpet. And then later in the meditation, she showed me a muscle and then rolling that out. So I wasn't sure the significance of the rolling out, but just showing the strength of her. And also the Z wasn't about Oz, it was about Liza, because she actually did a show called Liza with a Z. So it was definitely Judy referencing Liza, and to bring more awareness to issues that she went through, whether it was dealing with Hollywood or this viral encephalitis. So I just wanted to bring those two things up. And if anyone picks up on anything about the Z rolling out and the arm rolling out, please let me know, because I haven't been able to connect those two. Unless it was just rolling out the carpet for her, like maybe Judy was rolling out the red carpet for Liza, her daughter. So today is, like I said, November 28, 2018. The 28 is the Two of Wands. It is a 1, which is the masculine energy. It is the 8 of inner strength and manifestation and staying at 0 point on the inside, and then the 2 on the outside, which is very feminine energy of balancing and seeing both sides of the situation. And the Two of Wands, to me, is a twin flame card. I use the Sirian Starseed deck for the main deck for my reads, and that is specifically 2 flames in the Two of Wands. So the day adds up to 50, which is a 5, which is all about change, freedom, and expansion. It's a 50 though, which is that source energy behind this change, energy, and expansion, and it's the 10 of Cups, which is complete emotional family fulfillment, also the end of a family cycle. So the Two of Wands and the 10 of Cups is very beautiful energy today for the twins, because it is the Two of Wands and the 10 of Cups, complete emotional family fulfillment. So, it's very cold here now, but it was a nice day. We did have some sunshine here, but there are some trucks down the street who've been very noisy. They're doing something significant to the ground. I don't know if they're just cutting down trees, but they're making a lot of noise out there. So that's been kind of going on all day as an underlying energy. And I'm just going to get right into it. So some interesting things came up in the coding today and in the reads. There was a lot of significant energies there. I'm still having some gas smell in my house. I'm still waiting for someone to come out. I wanted to remind people too, especially in this cold weather, to take a look at the sun during the day. You know, not right at the sun, but to get some sun in your eyes, to to receive that coding, and just be energized by the sun. And also a reminder about the pineal gland, which comes up in the coding today, which was very interesting how it came up. So we'll get to that in a moment. So for the Divine Feminine, and before I get into the read, I'm going to show you the pictures before I forget to do that. This is the Divine Feminine read. Okay, and then the Divine Masculine read for today. They're both today. Okay. So for the Divine Feminine read, the major arcana were the Emperor, and the Emperor was very much in this read. It wasn't just once. The Emperor came up several times. It was very significant throughout the whole read. The Hanging Man came up, as well as Starseed, which is the Fool, in the Syrian Starseed. My voice is going. Okay, so the Emperor needs to speak up about this new start that he wants as a Starseed. It's a fresh start. There was 1 cup, 3 wands, 1 pentacle, and 3 swords for the Divine Feminine. The court cards that came up were the Queen of Swords and the Page of Wands. The numbers that came up in the read and the codes were 531, the number 9, 1313, and it's just 757 when I looked there. And 44 actually came up in both reads. And 44 is Atlas, the weight of the world upon your shoulders. It's also the 4 of Cups. Okay. So in the coding, it was very interesting. It was like a high five and then 3 cheers about SAG was coming up, S-A-G, so it could be Sagittarius, but I was also looking it up because I wasn't feeling like that was the definition of what they were trying to tell me. But it was about the height of creativity and communication, so it's all about creativity and communication. And I wanted to say 757. 57 is the 3 of Swords, which definitely came up in the reads today. And then 7, of course, is the Chariot. I've been getting a lot of the Chariot this week, but not so much today. But 57 is the 3 of Swords, which is that separation and heartbreak. But this, in the coding, had to do with high five, 3 cheers, SAG, at the height of creativity and communication. And when I looked up SAG to see what other definitions there were, the 2 that came up for me were SAG stop, which is where bikers, when you're having a cycling race, where it's a station where they can stop for repairs and things like that. And I like that too. It's support and gear for bikes. SAG, support and gear for bikes. For bikers. Bicyclers. Bicyclers, all right? So we're dealing with cycles and bicycles, or two cycles. So I thought that was kind of cool. Another definition that came up for SAG, which was even more significant to me, was that SAG is a gene. And so then I was like very curious as to what gene it is and what are the issues with that when there's a defect in that gene. So it's S-arrestin protein, which is also referenced as S-antigen, expressed in retina and pineal gland. And the disease that some people get from a defective SAG gene is Oguchi disease, O-G-U-C-H-I, which again has to do with problems with night vision. But again, this gene specifically has to do with it being expressed through the retina and the pineal gland. So what are the chances that that's going to come up in this coding? The gene that relates to the pineal gland. So when looking up this information and then looking up what are the cures for Oguchi disease, and of course I don't see anything really specific, except one of the recommendations was high doses of zinc and vitamin K. And of course, standard medicine was not going to support that, but then there was further referencing to high doses of zinc. So zinc and K, or just zinc. But of course, be very careful with trying those things out. You know, don't OD on zinc or K. So for me, that was interesting because I was looking up stuff about the pineal gland and cleaning my pineal gland, because you know that you know, fluoride calcifies in the pineal gland, but I just wanted to find out other ways to clear out your pineal gland. And I have dry eye issues. So it was interesting that maybe both the zinc and K will help with the pineal gland and the eye issue, since it also references the retina. So anyway, so it's definitely about celebrations, because we have high five and 3 cheers, okay? It's about truths, but that cheer is the truth. To have that high energy of creativity and communication, that getting out there and being creative and communicating with others helps you stay in that higher vibration. Some of the other downloads that came up when I put the code in online, again, what do you think the first headline was? Download Maroon 5, wake up call right now, which, how many times have I said that now? It's been constantly coming up. Wake up call right now. The second one was plugins, Shin Megami Tensei, Imagine Wiki. And then it said, image of 5 mountain soldiers is a rare drop from Tyrant Chi Yu, spawned by using a demon egg available for 3 resolute orbs in Home 2, which was a dungeon. And again, in some of the cards in the Starseed, in the Syrian Starseed, there's definitely dungeon energy. Clip art of a group of hands doing a team high five came up, and then it said dash royalty. So they were talking about royalty free in the ad, but that's not what it said in the headline. It just said royalty ... And then the next one was this, it's gonna be good. And it was chapter 19, G Starshine, the Avengers. And it said high-end spell detection and recorder, orbs, both of which were keyed to spell all results down into a thick book that was charmed with endless pages, or AKA Akashic Records. Then the next entry was, but I have a receipt or a transcript. And then the underlying, and the subtext was 3 orbs unleashed into the air, which summon Skip, a warrior, Pops, a cyborg cowboy, and Benson, an elf. So a warrior, a cowboy, and an elf. Then the next header that came up was Journey with Jeff. Always take the high road. There's a lot to SAG stops. All right, so you see how SAG comes up here again? And 80 miles later, we found ourselves in beautiful town of Little Falls. We got in rather early, so we showered, walked 2 blocks into town, had lunch, and then were free to explore the canal. The next entry was Multiverse, Crash of Universes. The next one was Thank You Bro, Wholesome Memes, Slow Motion High Fives. And this was funny because they were giving an example of the slow motion high five meme, saying, you know, they were hauling ass trying to keep up, whether they were running or biking or whatever it was, like wanting to take a break, and then the other one says, hey dude, you know, we've only gone like 3 miles. So that was the slow motion high five. The next header was What's Worse? Question mark. Chapter 2. And then Shyness 1, 2, 3 came up. Final Fantasy type 0. And the next entry was MP3 Juices, which was a download song site. But again, bringing up juices and maybe needing to juice in the morning. So for the Divine Feminine, getting into the read, and before I start, definitely was getting today Healer, Heal Thyself, and the Pot of Gold. So lovers passionately ride in for the Divine Feminine. The Emperor starts out the read in the underlying energy, with his higher self right behind, releasing a false hand and tapping into his depth of emotion. Then 3.5 comes up here again, out of 7 options. And so I looked up 3.5 because I've been getting it a lot. And the 2 definitions that came up for 3.5 had to do with how much an eighth an ounce of pot is, those 3.5 grams. And it was like a slang for oral sex, because it's the 3.5th digit, so between the 3 and 4th, you know, when you split your fingers, which I'm not going to do because it's vulgar. But those are the things that came up for this, okay, for 3.5. So that was very interesting. So maybe somebody gets high. There may be an Emperor masculine here who likes to get high. And obviously oral sex is coming up here as well. So, but this 3.5 options is coming up, is out for the Emperor, putting on the brakes gently while daydreaming about a Queen of Pentacles and what to do with their savings. So the High Priestess and the King of Wands reversed is also out in the open in a V shape, which is just like the position of the 3.5 hand symbol, but also reflects a mountain, what a mountain looks like. You know, the V reversed is the shape of a mountain, which also came up in just some of the pictures of the cards, and also the sand art that comes up a lot. But this King of Wands is coming up reversed, and it was to me coming up as the King of Wands reversed was the Emperor, but it could be somebody else. But upset about the past, possibly his childhood, his past returning, possibly difficult children, or difficulties with his twin, while this High Priestess just sits and stares at their savings, wondering what to do with it. Or the King of Wands reverse is using their own intuition to plan their next steps for savings once they receive more information and they get more clarity about the past. And then I was getting long journey home and what a long strange trip it's been. The Emperor, King of Wands, is tired and resting prior to the final leg of the relay, the final sprint home. This was a download I was getting. All right, that was the long journey home, what a long strange trip it's been, and resting prior to the final leg of the relay, the final sprint home. Those were all downloads, okay? So then trust comes up for the underlying energy for the Divine Feminine. And engagement, the engagement card was underneath trust. And trust is all about having faith and being patient. Leaving the Queen of Wands behind, the Knight of Cups is looking for peace in the woods with a High Priestess with keys, or it could just be a secret or his own intuition, to opening the lens to see pictures. So about opening the pineal gland and refilling the canteen in well springs. You know, getting clean emotions. So talking about learning how to see from the divine feminine, the divine masculine looking to the divine feminine to learn how to open up their pineal gland more, or to see more in meditation, and also in living better, and how we live, and what kind of water we drink, that kind of thing. But he was also leaving the Knight of Cups looking for peace in the woods, with the High Priestess with the keys to opening the lens to see pictures and refill his canteen in well springs, if she'll accept him back. And then self-discipline comes up for the divine feminine as her underlying energy. Self-discipline, and this was very much coming up as your daily spiritual discipline. And then hiking in the mountains with good cheer and spirits, possibly at a chalet, with new love with twin, or self-love with children for the masculine. So I was getting this emperor, could be the divine feminine as well, but I was getting more that the emperor may be hiking in the mountains, or possibly skiing and spending some time at a chalet, you know, maybe having a drink after the slopes, that kind of thing. Leaving the pain behind, that the worst is over. So it could be with somebody else, it could be with their karmic, could be with the twin, but also could just be with their children. I was getting more with the twin or children than the karmic. I was getting that the karmic was being left behind at this point. Or he's going back to the past to love himself and end his pain. The emperor looks at the stars in the night sky, alone in a sea of emotions, getting over suffering and or stress of a separation and or heartbreak, of possibly some Queen of Swords energy blocked from speaking to him. So the Queen of Swords here was reversed. It was just underlying energy. Now that he has more information and the worst is over, he is clear on what he must do. And then I was getting, if you could see me now, if you could see how blue her eyes can be when she says she loves me. You know, in that song where he's clear in what I must do. Okay, so that came in. And then the foundation for the divine feminine and spirits connecting with me has to do with hanging in limbo with that right knee block again, which is an anger block for the divine feminine and divine masculine, and their masculine within them both. There's still a little bit of anger there in the right knee that needs release. So at the end of a family cycle here, the Queen of Pentacles wonders what to do with her savings, her time, her energy, wondering if a new life will be offered and just to be snatched away again. Will he run away again? And I was getting 2313 there, which is the King of Wands and the Death card, okay? So centrally for the divine feminine is the Three of Pentacles, which came up centrally for the divine feminine yesterday. Same card. And I wanted to look it up. I haven't looked it up in the book because I don't usually go by the book. I go by my intuition. But one of the definitions of the Three of Pentacles is nobility. And that came up yesterday and today for the divine feminine. But in the Sirian Starseed deck, this card is labeled as Trinity, and it often comes up as the place of work, which can be a noble place to be, but it's about coming together in a noble way. It can be elitism as well. But I was getting today that Trinity is a blessed divine workplace, where those angry knees can be fixed by performing balanced work, okay, so rebalancing energies with doing energy work, as the lobster is left out so that he or she finds that rare pearl in the light of the full moon in order to make magic. So it's saying that the divine masculine and the divine feminine have both been left to their own devices to discover more about their own abilities and themselves. The Emperor manifests masculine polarization. Also, there's a dog hiding under the table. It was just 2442. And 24 is the Queen of Wands, 42 is the Two of Cups. So the Emperor is manifesting masculine polarization. So he's going more into his masculine, which will polarize the feminine more into her feminine. But I was also seeing the dog hiding under the table. So that could be his inner dog too, right? He's coming out as the magician now. and letting sleeping dogs lie. Okay? Hung up on twin and his twin's reflection, the shadow work of it, sad that he hadn't offered work or friendship or something healthy when he had the chance. The Divine Feminine is challenged by the truth of the King of Pentacles, suddenly coming in and telling the truth, but possibly not expressing any real feelings, or remorse, or sadness or loss, or jealousy that maybe the Divine Feminine wants to feel from him, or maybe just an offer of work or friendship that comes in, and that's it. So now in the head and heart of the Divine Feminine is a passionate exchange expressed about working on details of transformation, of depression, loss of hope, and impatience now that the worst is over. Deception of burdens, or hard work and letting go of people and activities that no longer serve, okay, or no longer working, possibly an infection that needs to be dealt with or gotten rid of, and that can be a physical infection, or it could just be an etheric infection as well, but it also could just be an infection of the people that you hang around with, for the Divine Masculine or the Divine Feminine. So it's like that Seven of Cups reversed, letting go of extra activities that really no longer serve you, but also not able to weed out where the infection is, so dumping everything so to make sure you get it. So you make sure you get it all. And that could be like in a, in any kind of infection surgery or cancer surgery where they take out more than they need to make sure they get it all. Is like in the life of the Divine Feminine or Divine Masculine, dumping everything to make sure you get all the bad energy out so you can start fresh again. The Emperor's back is turned with the spotlight on the trophy bride, reflecting military man who's still offering friendship. To heal jealousy of a big love through work as a third party, and the Divine Feminine standing her ground. So there may be, there may still be partners of the Divine Feminine or exes of the Divine Feminine whose energy is still in their field, and the Divine Masculine still feeling that energy. Soon, the Divine Feminine keeping quiet, resting, meditating, on break, as third party stands up for themselves about energy stealing and energy harvesting, and sweetly judging, deciding to dump a mental prison or anxiety despite the injustice. So getting, putting yourself in a mental prison over injustice, but now deciding to let go of that and lay down your sword with your twin, anything that you were still upset about, and allow feelings of suffering. Allow them to come in and go through you. Transmute those energies as opposed to pushing it away. Being a patient angel, balancing one step at a time. The Queen of Cups fell on her face, traveling to a peaceful place with the Queen of Wands. They're both upright. But this could be an example of someone who's in your life. It could be a child, a grown child, or it could be a friend or a family member. But it's just showing an example where a Queen of Cups, and it doesn't have to be the Divine Feminine. It could be two people who are not you. But showing an example of a Queen of Cups who fell on her face, trying to get to a peaceful place with this Queen of Wands. That these situations require more self-discipline and spiritual practice, especially when traveling in a way like I just was, and being more disciplined financially, dealing with friends, family members, and children especially. Like not trying to make things nice just to get past differences, to be authentic to what's good for you and what resonates with you. And if they suffer from it, to allow them that, okay? To allow them to go through the suffering, to heal themselves so they can learn this. Going through momentary lacks of faith to show others by example. So of course we're all going to do that here and there, right? We're always going to go down in energy at certain times, or lack faith at certain times. But it's okay to go through those things, and it's actually important to go through those things because we're all human, but also as an example to others, to show others how it's okay to make mistakes or fail at something, and how to deal with that, and how to heal yourself without blaming others. and deal with your own pain. So, and I was thinking of an example of myself this week and just dealing with my daughter. And it was actually a really smooth week. Even the car accident on Sunday was, no issues, no major issues. Till the next morning, and she was being moody, and I had to take care of, calling the insurance company and all that kind of stuff, and she wasn't answering me when I asked her a question nicely so that I could take care of all this stuff for her, make sure everything was done before I left, because the accident happened Sunday. I only had Monday to take care of things with her, and then I was gone. So I was being nice and trying to get everything expedited and taken care of for her, and she was being difficult. She wasn't answering my questions and just being moody, and I understand that. She was upset because her car got damaged. And after being patient several times, I did snap, and I didn't yell, but I said, well, fine, I won't do it. I'll take a cab to the airport tomorrow, and you can take care of all this stuff yourself. And then I shut the door, and I didn't shut it gently. So how could I have dealt with the situation differently? So you need to go through these things. And of course, I could have remained patient and just still said, I could have said the same thing. I could have just said it in a kinder way and not slam the door, okay? And allow her to take care of her own issues. If she doesn't want me to do it, then she can do it herself. But it's just about healing our own pain and knowing how could we have dealt with the situation differently to have not been triggered. And certainly, and then going through the whole situation. So why did I get upset with her? Because she was blaming me for damaging her car. And then wouldn't allow me to correct the situation, even though it wasn't my fault, because I wasn't at fault in the accident, that it just happened. But her blaming me, and she wasn't really, I know that she didn't mean that, but initially, of course you feel that. I might have felt the same way. But that's not my issue, that's her issue to deal with. And you need to allow them to deal with their own angst, just like we do. I need to be more patient. For me, it's impatience, because my mother was very extremely impatient. If we weren't ready at school, if she had to wait more than like 2 minutes, seriously, 5 minutes was like a long time for her to wait. If she had to wait for 5 minutes, she would leave. She wouldn't even question it. And we lived an hour away from home by walking. So, and she's definitely left me at school before. So impatience is a big one for me to get over, because that's the way I grew up. With a parent, both of my parents were impatient in that sense. Okay, so it's all about allowing, being more patient, and knowing that things are going to work out no matter what. If she doesn't want to help me get things done, then she'll have to do it herself tomorrow. It's not my issue. You can only do what you can do, okay? So we will all trip up again in trying to find peace. Or just other people seeing now you're learning from you, and how now my daughter may be going off into her own world and seeing examples come up of what I've explained to her, or I've shown to her through my own actions, and how I've changed and the way she used to know me. Okay? So the Divine Feminine is seeing themselves as the starseed energy, as the Fool, receiving a big download, so new energy downloads coming in, allowing the swords to drop out of your back, announcing new healing, and shedding light on what it means to wake up, the men and children. All right, we have this wake-up call. We got Maroon 5 again. Wake up now. There's a new passion for epiphanies about overindulgences, which could be any overindulgence, including third parties and gossip, and being antisocial. For the Divine Feminine, the cards that came up from Romance Angels were getting to know each other and to stay optimistic about your love life. Around the Divine Feminine is impatience, again, in conflicts. But the King of Swords, or the Divine Masculine, is learning to rise above his own impatience. So, okay, impatience is coming up on both sides here. The Divine Feminine needs to clear blocks of grief and mourning, allowing the full cycle. Being energetically drained causes weakness and illness. So allow the sadness to pass through. Don't let it sit and dwell, but allow it to pass through, assess it, integrate, and then flip the switch. Because you know how now, okay? Communication and creativity, like I said, were the main energies coming up for this read. To be creative about your communications, especially when dealing with kids. And teaching what we've learned. Creative and communicate. You have to talk. Just learn to be more patient. Okay? And we're ending the coddling and babying for stability. And this is coming up with the Divine Masculine and their karmic. So some of them will have karmics who baby them. And that's what they like, because they're codependent in that way. You know, the karmic has always babied them. But now as the Divine Masculine raises, he's going to become impatient with that, because that's disrespectful when someone babies you. And it treats you like you're an invalid, that you don't know how to take care of yourself. So there's going to be these rejection energies that naturally come up in this situation for some masculines. And now I'm being reminded too, with both Princess Di and Judy Garland, it's very much about the mother-child relationship and about teaching your children from your own life lessons. And how much did we see of that for Princess Di and her children? Okay, and how much they will be different because of what they saw in their mother and what she taught them. And the same thing with Judy and Liza. And how strong, look at Liza and how strong she was in learning from her mother and what she went through. In healing her own pain. In healing her viral encephalitis, which was amazing. Okay? But allowing to others feel their grief and heal themselves. That's how they learn, and that's how they become sovereign. If we coddle them and do everything for them, like some of the karmics have done for the masculine, and for the Divine Feminine, she could have been that way with her masculine, or vice versa. The karmic masculines could have been that way, babying the Divine Feminines, not allowing them their sovereignty, their independence, their ability to stand on their own and without fear. Okay, so we have to allow this for others to feel it so that they can learn from it. The Page of Wands comes up as the outcome card here, or the solution card in the read. But in this deck, it's a masked Page of Wands with internal fires burning. There are nightmares around about stealing energy from the one he loves and being judged for spying at home of the Queen of Cups during transformation and feeling like dying. So now everything that Divine Feminine went through, the Divine Masculine may be feeling and going through, depending on where they are in their journey right now. Okay? And also this energy was coming up of this Page of Wands, just wanting to be held and coddled because they're used to that. Not dealing with their own problems, but putting it off on someone else to baby them like a mother would do. Okay? A little boy and his mother. So it's either an actual mother who's babying the Divine Masculine, or the karmic partner who acts like a mother and coddles them and treats them like a little baby. And then I was getting a download, till death do us part. Okay, so it was like the karmic saying, you know, oh, don't worry about it, you know, we're going to be together forever till death do us part. You know, it was kind of that energy, but it was kind of, you know, kind of in a gross way, because there was so much babying there. Anyway, if that applies to you, you'll understand completely. If it doesn't resonate with you, then it's not your situation. Also, the injustice of having to apologize. The Divine Masculine, if they've done nothing, and same with the Divine Feminine. The injustice of having to apologize when they've done nothing wrong. So if the Divine Masculines have been accused of having an affair when they haven't, it's about getting past the injustice of it. And do you want to be right, or do you want to be happy? And it's also the injustice of, you know, in this situation, where the Divine Masculine may not have physically cheated with someone else, but energetically did. He needs to come into his truth and understand what truth is. If no one can see it, doesn't mean it's not the truth. He knows what he's been feeling inside and how he's been connecting. So he needs to be honest with himself. So it's coming up as injustice. Is it actually injustice? Or do you just need to get past the injustice and be happy instead of dealing with injustice? You want to be right and you want to be happy. You want to be happy. So someone's feeling dumped and feeling like a failure without getting attention, needing attention. The Hermit, Page of Wands. So the Page of Wands can be the Hermit, or they can be two separate people. But it's the Hermit shedding light on the nightmare of this, of the Page of Wands, the inner child. That there's no more fight left, depressed with loss of power, money, and independence, giving everything to a dysfunctional family to come together at work so that he can do all the work. So it's definitely getting more masculine stuff here, but it can relate to the Divine Feminine as well, especially if she's got a lot of masculine in her. There's a Queen of Cups coming up here, excited to end the nightmare of being dumped, overwhelmed, crying in pain, just done being depressed with loss of power. So, the Divine Feminine's come out of this. She's done with all that. Done with giving to family or others and being drained, from people who don't appreciate what they give, being drained of energy and resources, or in need of co-creation, in need of equal energy exchange. The Emperor with the right knee block wants a fresh start, conflicted about stars, hopes and wishes, and emotions, and being stranded at work with the truth of being quiet and learning to rest and meditate, with the Queen of Swords exchanging passionate feelings of inspiration while alone and going within. The Divine Masculines are always used to being very busy. So it's about learning to stay still and understand the importance of being still for a moment and being quiet, especially for those who like to talk. The Emperor hopes to feel, to express anger at work regarding the truth of love and passion expressed and wanting a fresh start. In quiet, without conflict or grief, just pure inspiration in isolation, or with a hermit, which could be a Virgo, wise man, could be a professional person as well. He wants to be inspired with light. Also, there's a passionate exchange with a physical child, so an actual child, or your own inner child, the masked child who requires lots of physical activity, and then to be alone. So is this your dynamic? Are you someone who likes to avoid by being really physical all the time, really busy, and then shutting everyone out, going home and being alone, closing the door, I don't want to deal with anyone, I'm tired. Okay? That's blocking everyone out. That's not being connected with yourself. So there needs to be quiet time to actually reconnect with yourself so that your heart opens, so that you'll want to be in communication with those you live with. Or they're just those in your environment. Okay, so then after the Divine Feminine read came up information about how to detox your pineal gland. So some of the things are like fluoride. You shouldn't be drinking fluoride in your water. You shouldn't be using fluoride in your toothpaste or any fluoride. Everything should be natural as much as you can. Obviously, not everyone can afford to be completely organic, but do the best you can with using all organic things. Even the creams and everything you use on your skin and your hair should be as organic as possible. Some people say if you can't eat it, don't put it on your body. Also, some of the things that were coming up that were good to clear are obviously heavy metal detoxes, lemon, organic lemon, MSM, raw apple cider vinegar. And of course, be careful with vitamins. There's a lot of vitamins over the counter that are not good vitamins, They're made from some strange things. You'd be surprised what some vitamins are made from. That really it should be liquid vitamin or from foods. Maybe you need to just add some different foods to your diet. But make sure they're organic. And for C, it shouldn't be ascorbic acid, and as 2 for folic acid. Oh, my brother had an issue with that gene for ascorbic acid, so you have to use a special, not ascorbic acid, but folic acid. There's a different prescription kind of folic acid that your body's more able to absorb. So just things like that. It's hard because it's expensive to have all these extra things, but it's just about eating right and getting a good maybe liquid vitamin that's organic. But just do what you can, and certainly don't get on yourself about not being able to do everything if you can't afford it. All right, that's not the point. Some of the other things that came up were, and they noted that, I didn't write down what site it was, but that grounding was scientifically proven to reduce inflammation. Cilantro came up also, and of course sun gazing. So for the Divine Masculine today, the major arcana were transition and indigo. There were 4 swords, so very much in their head today, the Divine Masculine. 2 pentacles, 2 cups, 1 wand, and 2 queens. Queen of Wands and Queen of Cups came up here. And like I said, the number 44 came up in this read, as well as the Divine Feminine read. The numbers 5, 10, and then 5 came up again, as well as 20, 44, 4,221, and then the number 25 came up as well. And it was about, big change and transition for the Divine Masculine. And even maybe there's some kind of transition for the Divine Masculine where he needs to hire someone. In some situations, maybe he's going to want to hire his Divine Feminine. But there's a love of music coming up here for the Divine Masculine. So whether it's his own love of music or the connection between him and his twin and love and music, that was coming up. And also the energy of the Knight of Wands and being able to balance 2 Knights of Wands. Can you imagine how much passion there is with Knights of Wands? For them to get balanced is not easy. But that conflict vibrates to sadness, and we need to transmute this to keep it balanced. It's the dance of the twins. So for the Divine Masculine, there was a lot of pain coming up here. There's definitely court coming up for some of the Divine Masculines. There's a lot of justice, judgment, 10 of Swords, and Death cards in this read. So there's definitely court here. It could be divorce, it could be some other kind of break of contract, but there was definitely some difficult energies here. The Divine Masculine choosing a path, deliberating in order to end pain and conflict. There's a couple different scenarios coming up. There was like a judge telling both. I was getting like in a divorce situation where the judge is telling both of them they're like from the Stone Age, like, because the Divine Masculine expects, the little woman to stay at home and do everything he tells her to do because he makes the money, that kind of thing. I was definitely getting that Stone Age thing where the judge was saying, like, you guys are living in a different world. Or, so I was getting the judge saying this to the Divine Masculine as a lawyer, and the Queen of Wands look at him all kind of smug and satisfied on his own. Or it could be a Queen of Wands and their boyfriend if the Divine Masculine and his karmic are broken up now. So I was getting there possibly could be a third person on the karmic side as well. But I was getting for the Divine Masculine a painful judgment. The Queen of Wands is saying, this is like some of the testimony I'm getting. And obviously it's not going to be for everyone. So if it doesn't resonate with you, it's not for you. I was getting like a Queen of Wands saying that the Divine Masculine gets off on money, that it's poison for him, or the judge could be saying this to him. And that he goes after work and drinks at the bar, or goes home and drinks alone. So this is like the karmic saying this. So defenseless, but no longer caring what others say or do, and over the loss of connection in divorce or justice, now leaving both out in the cold. Or there's a Libra energy, because it's the Justice card, getting off making money without the Queen of Wands and her brother or boyfriend around. So there's definitely some other masculine energy coming up with this karmic Queen of Wands that was not the Divine Masculine, who's in her life that he's glad to have out of his life. So it could just be a brother or a friend of the karmics that's always around, or her new boyfriend that the Divine Masculine just wants out of his life. So now there's 2 people being left out in the cold. And it could just be literally the cold weather. So out, at break, at lunch during a court hearing, them both being stuck with each other out in the cold. Or it could literally be the Divine Masculine leaving the karmic out in the cold with someone else. or the judge leaving both of them out in the cold. And then hearing someone say that they can have each other, like, I don't want them anymore, I don't want her anymore, or I don't want him anymore. It's that kind of thing. And unrequited love was coming up as the underlying energy for the masculine. Underneath that was express your love. So the Knight of Wands is coming up definitely here, rescuing the fairy or Libra energy, or rescues another from justice of the Empress with a devil child or a child of the devil. So this Empress could be coming up as devil energy. So she could be the karmic, or she could be the mother of the divine masculine, or the mother of the karmic. But there's also, could be someone who's got, a difficult child. Or rescuing this child of the devil. So whether that be the karmic or a mother in the situation. But I was getting this energy like the divine masculine felt it was unjust that he rescued his karmic, and now she's just trying to take him down. When he rescued her, what would she have been without him? That's the energy I was getting. Also, the Queen of Swords reversed is coming up as detoxing, needing peace without option, standing her ground, or guarding the house. So someone might be going to a detox, going to some kind of rehab, or someone just needs time alone. But I was getting a house coming up as like someone fighting for a house, and someone actually standing guard in front of this house so that the other person can't get in. But this is very painful court proceeding with the devil leaving him out in the cold to deliberate until they see eye to eye. So there may be a judge who's being really tough with them and saying, I'm sick of seeing you guys in here. If you guys need to settle on your own and don't come back here until you're ready to see eye to eye, something like that. But unrequited love, it could be a Libra, Sagittarius, and a Taurus, Capricorn. Those were some of the energies that were coming up. Also that recently the divine masculine's been in his heart, in his bat cave, trying to hold on to a house in the divorce. And again, I'm losing my voice, so there's, this is a big deal here. Speaking of all the work that he did, I was definitely getting in someone's situation that she's trying to take the house, and he's really upset because he literally did all the work on the house, and she's trying to take it away from him, and him trying to express that to the judge, which I can definitely get that. It's heartbreaking when you put your soul into something and then someone else is taking it away from you. But anyway, there's this energy about being on guard about a house to the devil who's out of detox. So someone might have gotten out of jail or rehab and now trying to take his house away from him. He hides in the bat cave where it's warm. And then I was getting that out there with her is cold. The foundation is coming up as the Queen of Wands, with a turn for the worse, paying out to the King of Wands in order for him to be free. So now this is another situation where the karmic has to pay out to the divine masculine, so she's going to be pissed about that. It wasn't coming up as her, well, she could be pissed. Centrally, the energy is coming up as the Emperor walking away from feeling the loss in a destined separation due to a third-party situation, challenged by the transition of the truth of the devil, which also could just be the truth of a Capricorn, swearing in, like I was seeing the devil swearing in on the stand, to bring a choice of path to light, of fantasy and truth of a sudden death. So sudden death was coming up here too. I don't see this as a prediction, but there's some things that already happened, and that's why they're in court. So some other case could be, some of them could be divorced, but there could also be some kind of family court hearing where there was a sudden death and trying to get to the bottom of how this person died. Also now in the head and heart of the divine masculine is separation and heartbreak, clinging to the money of a lover. So someone might not, clinging to that relationship because of the other's money. Juggling the King of Swords and the Knight of Wands. So there could be two people here for the karmic as well. I was also getting like the divine masculine juggling the love of his work and then his heartbreak, which other people may not know about because the heartbreak may be about his karmic, but it also may be about his twin, which others may not be aware of. But that he, the King of Swords, is uninspired or sexually frustrated and just wanting this house that he's defending. There's heartbreak of a destined twin lover, the Queen of Swords reflection pulling at his heartstrings, especially at the full moons, and sometimes feeling like they want to die, maybe feeling a lot of jealousy of a King of Cups, or maybe that the Divine Masculine wants to become this King of Cups in the transformation, this new love. Or he may be jealous because he feels that the twin is with a King of Cups karmic, or may go back to a King of Cups karmic because he's not there. Or that his karmic may be with a King of Cups energy. Or the Divine Masculine with a Queen of Swords whose ex is a King of Cups, like I said. So the energies coming up here were Gemini and Scorpio, and then Capricorn from family. It's like that the karmic may actually be with someone related to the Divine Masculine in some situations, that she may have been cheating with someone from his family or a friend. At the full moon, the truth comes out that he wants a new life with the Queen of Cups, and that he wants to transform as the King of Cups. Soon for the Divine Masculine, he's thinking about his independence, impatient for a payoff so that he can rest, or maybe to get this final settlement done. The wounded warrior stressed over a prisoner, the Queen of Cups, that he is fearful of a King of Cups reversed, the Queen of Pentacles reversed, and the Queen of Cups all coming up on the Eight of Swords card. So this is the imprisonment or anxiety, a lot of fear and anxiety around these three people, because these could be the masculine, his karmic, and then his twin all together in the same room. But the King of Cups and the Queen of Pentacles were coming up as reversed. The Queen of Cups was coming up upright. But in ending this battle, the Romance Angels cards that came up for the Divine Masculine were reconciliation, release your ex, and deception. Around him is a new life for kids possibly, or it could just represent him and his twin, their inner children, that they can finally rest. A message of love and an opportunity to rest. The Divine Masculine needs to clear blocks of indigo energy. So he may be an indigo child, or he may have a child who's indigo, or it could just have to do with magician and manifestation. Of kids and twins in their knowing and not needing to know. And it's about having faith and coming out of isolation, not requiring attention for those masculines who were attention whores and who always just had an addiction to it, getting attention. Love and music came up as the energies, but also, even more importantly, for the masculine, teaching and learning, happy ending, and individuality. To be himself, to balance teaching and learning, sharing, and allowing a happy ending. Not needing to be right, but needing to be happy. Possibly some are missing their twin connection, confessing to synchronicities, maybe feeling like they're a prisoner of the twin synchronicities, and standing up for the Queen of Cups, new love, new life, needing courage to come full circle and disclose secrets to a new love, a prisoner of arousal, inspiration, or excitement, and wanting to start over, but possibly this masculine feels jealousy, or wants to start over and not be insincere, but may habitually lie. So these are some different addictions that different masculines may have. So he may want to come forward, but may be afraid that he'll be too jealous or insincere, and this may cause more conflict and fighting. So then, ending with a Queen of Wands, afraid of a new life, and Divine Masculine's warm heart, or his heart is warm, but he's feeling loss and regret in his transition to being still and quiet, to manifest epiphanies about heartbreak and separation of the Queen of Cups' new love. Ending, death, or surgery may be coming up for the Divine Masculine's heart. The Queen of Wands may be feeling loss and separation, or there may be a surgery. Someone may be getting surgery, and the Queen of Wands is worried about their partner undergoing surgery, worried about death, or death of marriage or family members, anxious and quiet for new life, with indigo magic for the Queen of Cups, new love. So it's definitely from very heavy energies around the Divine Masculine right now. I'm going to pull a few oracle cards for you now and see what else comes up. So we have the Ascension deck here. Everyone take a deep breath. Clear the line. Clear the line. Clear the line. Clear the line. Okay, so what do we need to know? What is the advice for everyone watching? And I'm still losing my voice. Some harsh energies were coming through for the masculine read for sure. What does everyone need to know? What is the advice for everyone watching? Everyone watching for this November 28, 2018. What does everyone need to know? What is the advice? Okay. The bottom of the deck is the Gold Ray of Christ, number 5. And again, the masculine was getting a lot of 5 energy, a lot of change, expansion, freedom. Okay. And the affirmation for the Gold Ray of Christ is, I am the Gold Ray of Christ. I am the Gold Ray of Christ. Okay? So for the masculine, you are the Gold Ray of Christ. Know that your energy is the God. We're all the same energy. Okay? We're all in unity. And to recognize about yourself, it was just 10101 and 10111. Unity, consciousness. The card that came out is the Sphinx. Okay, number 20, which is judgment. And the Sphinx says, the Sphinx energy has always been on Earth and watches over us. The high priest Ra brought it from Atlantis and placed it within the statue of the Sphinx in Egypt. You receive a charge of God force when you think about it, so relax and accept it now. And this references the Akashic records as well, which came up earlier. The Sphinx contains the 5th dimensional records for Earth, 5th dimensional, 5 again, and the information within the crystal skulls. You're invited to visit the tunnel from the Sphinx to Hollow Earth, a portal of wisdom linked to the ascended aspect of Mars. From here you can radiate peace and oneness throughout the universe. The affirmation for the Sphinx is, I connect to the God force within the Sphinx. Okay, so either way, it's really connecting to that Christ consciousness and the gold light. Use the gold as a golden white light to pull that in. And also maybe you need to go into your Akashic records right now. There's definitely Egyptian energies are coming up. And the 20 is very much of its judgment, but it's feminine energy. It's source energy backing up the divine feminine, number 2. That balance. From the past life deck, take another deep breath. Clear and line. Clear and line. Okay. So this November 28, 2018, what is the advice for everyone? What is our advice? Okay, we have male, female, and trees, and karmic relationship is at the bottom. Okay, so, all right, and this is about leaving on a jet plane. Okay, but it's about, all right, so here we have that energy of being in court. All right, you have the male versus the female with their backs faced to each other, and the trees. Okay, so it's very much about, we talked about sun gazing and grounding, which is very much this energy. But it's also about with the twins when you come together to align your energies in your spine. So sit back to back before communicating to align yourself. And that was from Golden Ray, or the Gold Ray. Mel. Yeah, it's just important in dealing with any situation of conflict to ground yourself. But to make sure in the wintertime when you can't get to the grass and the trees very often, to make sure you get some sunlight. You can still hug the tree because the trunk of the tree doesn't get snow all over it. Okay, so just be reminded you have to make more of a conscious effort to do that in the wintertime. And then from Journey of Love. Okay, Journey of Love. Take another deep breath. November 28, 2018. What is the advice for everyone watching? What is the advice? What is the advice? What is the advice? What is the advice? What is the advice for everyone watching? What do we need to know? Okay. The bottom of the deck is 3 to 1, number 10, which did come up for the masculine. 3, 2, 1. And that was one of the codes came up for 1, 2, 3 about shyness. But this 10 is really about being in the vortex. It's about being at 0 point, having gotten through the cyclone to the middle. The card that came out is the drop into your heart, which is number 68, which is the Page of Pentacles, which is opportunity, learning, being a student, inviting someone, just going to school and learning. And this is very much about the emerald and magenta combining into one, and it's very much like a snail. Be slow and patient. Chakras. Drop into your heart. Alright, 68. I'm still having trouble getting my voice back. Drop into your heart. There is a place of light within that no darkness can touch. It cannot be shamed, it can never be made impure. It is never lost or darkened or unavailable to us, though we may forget sometimes, sitting in a darkened room and not realizing that we can stand up and walk into the light so close to us, just on the other side of the doorway to the heart. Whatever may arise, great joy, great sorrow, drop into your heart and offer it to the divine, gently bowing your forehead into your hands in prayer. Connect mind and heart. Let yourself have some peace. It wants you, you know. So no matter what it is, offer it up to the divine and let go. This oracle brings you an offering. The divine would like you to offer whatever is bringing your heart trouble, or of course, joy. The divine would like to receive this from you as a gift, that it may return to you some special blessing. Place your hands at your heart, and in genuine reflection, perhaps you may choose to offer your heart burden or your light now. Either will be joyfully received by the divine, and you shall be graced with a gift in return. And the poem simply states, longing, the dance to move beyond the feeling that draws me forward to a place born within that calls my soul to feel complete. When you're feeling all this angst and longing, to let go of it. Give it up to the divine, surrender, because that's faith. It's about allowing all that is, knowing that the universe has your back, and not to worry. And just remember, whenever you go into pain, it's because you disconnected. You need to reconnect your mind and your heart. You need to connect your heart to your higher self. You're already there, but it's just your mind doesn't know that. So you have to train your mind to know that you are God. You are one. And remind yourself, because your mind doesn't know that. You know, you're breaking all of these old templates and being governed by someone else. You're learning to govern yourself. So you have to retrain your brain to get it. So reconnect, constantly reconnecting your heart to your higher self, even though you always are that person. It's just teaching your mind that that's true. Okay? So stay in your heart space. Make sure you drink your water and get rest, ground, and meditate. And just be happy, okay? Enjoy your days. Have an amazing week. Rise and be loved.